Hello, good evening and welcome to Breaking Views on NDTV. I am Ankit Tyagi. We are coming to you live outside the venue of the BJP National Executive Meeting. While there are curtains on the National Executive Meeting right now. In fact, they are putting the entire stage and the set, taking it away. But ladies and gentlemen, this has also paved the way for the 2024 blueprint of the Bharatiya Janata Party. So we will talk about that on the show. There are two important stories that we are discussing. One, of course, our discussion on the Bharatiya Janata Party, what the Prime Minister said, golden era of India, countdown begins for the next 400 days as the BJP is all set and the Prime Minister would be looking for a third term. We'll also talk to you, and this is what we are starting to on Breaking Views. Breaking News Explained. This is also related to the elections, a new innovation, the RVMs. What are the RVMs? I will tell you everything about the remote voting machines, how it is going to change the game as far as the elections are concerned. So stay tuned to that. Right at the end of the show, we will have that explainer for you as well. But let's just talk about the big talking point today. That was the concluding speech of the Prime Minister at the Bharatiya Janata Party's two-day brainstorming session here in the national capital. The Prime Minister spoke about 400 days, which are now left for the next general election. Spoke broad strokes about how the party now needs to reach out to new voters, young people, 18 to 25. The Prime Minister also, in fact, spoke about how the Bharatiya Janata Party needs to get into the exercise of reaching out to those, possibly in an indication to the Bohras and the Pasmanda Muslims, the minority communities who have not voted for the Bharatiya Janata Party, so reach out to those as well. While the Prime Minister gave his speech inside, which was not live telecast. It was a 1 hour long speech. Devendra Fadnavis, the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, was assigned the task to come and give details about that speech. And from one thing, while Devendra Fadnavis spoke and what has been happening in the last 2 days, one thing was clear. The National Executive was about Modi, the statesman, Modi, the leader, Modi, the face, and Modi, the delivery mechanism for the Bharatiya Janata Party in the state elections leading up to 2024. So listen in to what Devendra Fadnavis said, speaking about Prime Minister's speech.
सबसे महत्वपूर्ण बात प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जो कही वो ये थी कि भारत के जीवन का सर्वोत्तम काल आ रहा है, हम सामने देख रहे हैं। ऐसे समय हम लोग मेहनत में पीछे न रहे, इस प्रकार की एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण बात उन्होंने कही कि ये जरूर प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा कि चुनाव में 400 दिन है, तो हमारे इस कार्यकाल की सेवा के लिए हमारे पास 400 दिन शेष है। ये 400 दिन हम मतदाताओं की पूरी सेवा करें। ये बात ऐसी है कि ये जो 18 से 25 के जो लोग हैं, इन्होंने पुराने सरकारों में जो कुशासन चला उसको उन्होंने देखा नहीं। तो सुशासन और कुशासन का अंतर क्या है? जब हम लोकतंत्र में काम करते हैं तो लोकतंत्र में सुशासन से किस प्रकार से प्रगति होती है, इसका एक कंपैरेटिव इस प्रकार का एनालिसिस करते हुए अगर हम उनके पास जाएंगे तो उनका लोकतंत्र में विश्वास भी बढ़ेगा और साथ साथ कुशासन और सुशासन का अंतर भी उनको समझेगा।
All right, so that was, in fact, Mr. Fadnavis paraphrasing what the Prime Minister had said today. But very, very important, as the Prime Minister began the countdown for the 2024 general election, few very key important points were also made by the Prime Minister, possibly also hinting at the comments which are usually made by some BJP leaders, including Sadhvi Pragya. The Prime Minister also said that people should refrain from making such comments and we should try and be more inclusive. That was the pitch as far as the PM is concerned. Now, how this, in fact, has paved the way for the BJP to move ahead, and what is the answer as far as the opposition is concerned? How do they see this messaging by the Bharatiya Janata Party? Joining me, Vijay Jolly, leader of the Bharatiya Janata Party. We also have Mahima Singh, the spokesperson of the Congress Party with us. Thank you so much to both of you for joining us here on Breaking Views. I want to start with you, Mahima Singh, and want to understand from you, how do you see what happened today here at the National Executive of the BJP? Devendra Fadnavis came out and said Prime Minister did not speak as an election manager. He spoke on larger issues of how to make India great and how he has given good governance, and people, young people don't even know. Before this era of Modi, the kind of bad governance, misgovernance that India was used to. They tried to make Modi larger than life, Modi the statesman.
Good evening, Ankit. Good evening, all. Let me just start by saying that this was an event started by a road show by a narcissist. We saw the Prime Minister, conduct this road show and arrive at what I would call Modi Admiration Society. This two-day meeting was nothing short of a Modi Admiration Society, and you have rightly put it earlier when you were, commenting upon how this went, and you have rightly said that this was all about Modi. This is Modi Admiration Society, that's what I would say, because you see, they are being haunted right now by the success that the Bharat Jodo Yatra has received. Because the popularity we have received was nowhere apprehended or anticipated by the Bharatiya Janata Party. They had opened their mouths too soon when they said that he would not be able to walk for a week, for a few days, and so on and so forth about his T-shirt, about the people participating in tarnishing their image, and then, going on to talk about the containers. Even still, you find spokespersons of the BJP and their supporters coming on television and say that they are in the containers most of the times, tarnish the image of the Yatra. So they could not do that. And now what is happening in Jammu and Kashmir is a further failure. You see Operation Lotus almost collapsing in Jammu and Kashmir. And what they talked about in this Modi Admiration Society...
There seems to be a dichotomy in what you are saying. Before I go to Mr. Jolly, you are saying that the BJP is rattled by the success of the Bharat Jodo Yatra, while your leader himself keeps on saying that don't take Bharat Jodo Yatra as a vehicle of politics or a vehicle of political change. Why should the BJP be bothered if Rahul Gandhi does not even give that credit to Bharat Jodo Yatra?
Ankit, there is no dichotomy, and let me just complete my thoughts. I have a few points to make in here. Well, there's no dichotomy, and why I say that is because, yes, my leader and our chairperson of media and communications, our Gensec in charge, Mr. Jairam Ramesh, Mr. Pawan Kheda, repeatedly maintained that it is not an election-based yatra or an election a yatra focusing on the elections, but it is a yatra that is politically, focusing on the organization and on the issues of the public that we want to bring to the fore by virtue of this yatra. Now, what we saw in this two-day meeting, I'll quickly give me 30 seconds to just take you through what happened in this meeting over 2 days, the Modi Admiration Society. They talked about the Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. They have no answers to give on Joshimath. They have no answers to give on Namami Gange, and they're talking about Ganga Vilas cruise. They have no answers to give on the failures of Char Dham Expressway. Free ration to poor, they are talking about. It is the Food Security Act of the UPA that has provided that. Free of cost.
Ma'am, I've given you enough time for your opening remark. It's been a long opening remark. Let me very quickly also get in Mr. Vijay Jolly on this. Mr. Jolly, the Prime Minister also hinted when he spoke in his speech. He said that we have to work hard day and night. Don't think that elections are a given success. 400 days left. BJP has to make sure that they reach out to new voters. They reach out, in fact, to young people. And they also reach out to those who have not even voted for the party. But other important thing that he also said, sir, that refrain from making needless comments on movies and other controversies. Is that a clear message to the BJP to stop and, rethink on the way they have been going across, especially in the election-bound states, sir?
Ankit, we in the Bharatiya Janata Party start off with the BJP Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, unblemished 9 years governance, with more than 15 crore registered workers of the Bharatiya Janata Party. The BJP won the parliamentary elections in 2014 and 2019. And we are on the way that out of 28 states, BJP is in power under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's charisma, working at large with the BJP workers and Swamsevaks working at large in 17 states of the country, and with another 9 states going to polls in 2023, we hope to win all those states hands down. The criticism of the Congress party is very much evident since they are in the opposition since 2014. Rahul Karishma did not work.
No.
Priyanka Karishma did not work. But it is the charisma of the Bharatiya Janata Party and its leader, the charismatic leader, Prime Minister Narendra
agreed.
Modi,
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is your biggest vote-catching machine, and that's the reason why the Bharatiya Janata Party has an over-reliance on the PM. But what I'm asking you is, the message which has been sent by the Prime Minister, has this been received? No, Sir, I also interrupted her and asked her a supplementary question. I'm doing the same with you, sir. Has this message of don't get into these controversies about movie Pathan and the color of what people are wearing, or love jihad is the only important thing, and the statements that Sadhvi Pragya made, is this in a way an acceptance that it is hurting the Bharatiya Janata Party, not allowing the BJP to get new voters attracted towards them?
You see what the Prime Minister has said today. This is a golden era. This is a glorious era. This is the modern times of communication in which we have to be very, very precarious, because we have to touch base with the younger generation, which is in the age group of 18 to 25 years, which have never experienced the 1975 emergency imposed by the Congress regime led by its then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, when the fundamental...
Mr. Jolly, are you deliberately trying to avoid the indication that the Prime Minister has given? Is that how the Prime Minister's message is going to be received by the BJP?
You see, the BJP cadres have to be on the upswing. 400 days only away. And we have to come back for the third term in power at the center in a fragmented opposition, which does not have a leader of its own. Will the other opposition parties accept Congress?
Mahima ji, that is what becomes a problem as far as the opposition is concerned, where political analysts will tell you that if there is a BJP which projects Prime Minister Narendra Modi as and tries to make it. Sir, Jolly Saab, let me complete my question, sir. Sir, I asked you, let me complete my question. It is for the other panelists. If the BJP projects Narendra Modi and there is, you can't deny, no matter what names you call him, ma'am, he's the Prime Minister of the country who enjoys massive popularity. Is that somewhere a failure of, let's say, the leadership or the faces to ensure that the message that you are talking about or the problems that you are talking about in the country trickles down to the voters and that they vote on that message? Is the problem with the message or is the problem with the messenger? Is a repeated question that people keep asking.
See, Ankit, we'll have to remember, I'll have to remind the BJP spokesperson that the very record of
let her respond.
The very record of the Prime Minister starts with a blemish. He called his history unblemished. Godhara is a big blot on his history. It only got a clean chit, if so, by the Supreme Court 20 years down the line. No answers given by him on, in these 20 years. And that is why today I would say, when they're talking about Kushasan and Sushasan, I would say, to the younger generation who must read about the assassination of Gandhi and who must know about the Godhara riots, that Andha Chaka Chand Ka Mara, Kya Jane Itihas Bichara, Sakhi hai unki mahima ke, Surya Chandra Bhugol.
But ma'am, the fact is that matter has been settled by the Supreme Court, and again that is why I am asking you the question, is the message a problem? Is the Congress and the opposition not able to put forward the message across to the voters, or your messenger is the problem?
Let me say 20 years down the line, if at all you call it a clean sheet, it has been given 20 years down the line, and enough questions have gone unanswered in these 20 years. Let me just say that we are not a presidential democracy. We are a democracy. We are a bicameral democracy wherein, we elect the parliamentarians. We elect. This is what, the fallacy of the narrative today is that we are believing that we have to vote for one face. No, that is not true. You vote for your parliamentarian of your area who will take your problems to the parliament, and those parliamentarians then in turn elect the prime minister amongst themselves. And that's what, when they say that the opposition is without a face,
Yes.
well, the opposition is with the issues of the public. Jan ki baat, not man ki baat. We talk about
Mr. Jolly, let Mr. Jolly respond to that. Mr. Jolly, that seems to be the attempt as far as the BJP is concerned. You try and project the Prime Minister in a way that every event, whether it is of the government, whether it is of an international level, or it is of the BJP political party, it all becomes about Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Take, for example, the G20 presidentship, which is a rotational presidentship. It has come to India, but it is being projected as, look, it is because of the Prime Minister that this is happening.
You see the Prime Minister's positive attitude for development and the opposition's negative campaign against the BJP and the false accusations against the Prime Minister on Pegasus, on Raffles deal, on Central Vista, on economic reservation, on demonetization.
Ma'am, let him complete. Let him complete.
Were rejected by the judiciary. What is the Congress spokesperson talking about?
They have a problem with the judiciary, and that's very evident. You know what the BJP spokesperson is talking about right now.
But they are now, and that is something which was spoken here at the National Executive as well, that all this narrative has been demolished by the Supreme Court. That's what the BJP is going to take to the people. Quickly, Mahima ji, respond.
Yeah. Let me just tell you that Dharmendra Pradhan ji was speaking at their conference, and he talked about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. I already told you about Joshimath and Namami Gange. They're talking about Ganga Vilas cruise, but not about how are they going to do Namami Gange, or what is the development on Namami Gange. The PM Awas Yojana they have been raising, and again in their meeting it was raised. Let me remind you, in 2021, the Kolkata woman who featured with the Prime Minister in the poster, the ad for Awas Yojana, PM Awas Yojana, herself lived in a rented room without a washroom. Let me remind you that 604 Indians are abandoning Indian citizenship today, which is almost double of what it was in 2014. In global hunger index, we are at 107th position out of 121 countries. Global gender gap index, we are 135th out of 140.
Okay. Mahima ji, Jolly sahab, bahut shukriya, because I'm completely out of time. The fact is, and I just want to sum it up by saying that the BJP is reliance on the Prime Minister is clear, and their roadmap ahead for 2024 is very, very clear. While the opposition in 2014, 2019 tried to make the entire campaign against Narendra Modi, made it very personal, whether they have learned a new trick and whether they have a new answer to this challenge of the BJP in 2024, that will be interesting to see. Thank you so much at this moment to both my guests for joining me on this face-off on Breaking Views. But we are talking about elections. I want to, in fact, now focus on something related to the elections itself, a new innovation which the Election Commission wants to, in fact, bring in as far as our voting is concerned. Let's talk about and explain in detail the RVMs. Now, this was very recently the Election Commission had invited political parties, both national and state political parties. In fact, 8 national and 40 regional parties were invited by the Election Commission to give a demo as far as this RVM is concerned. There have been certain problems which have been flagged by the various political parties, but without going into that, or we'll deal with that a little later, let's first tell you what are RVMs, how do they function, what will be the process if implemented, and how it is going to be a game changer. Because in a country as vast as India, ladies and gentlemen, there are many people, those who are working in other states. Elections might be happening in their states, and their voting card could be of the place where they belong from. And they are, in every election, not able to vote. So this could be a game changer for those people. So let's start with the breaking views explained here, and let's give you a full detail of the RVMs and how this mechanism is going to work. So let's just first talk about what is remote EVM, which is known as the RVM. The Election Commission has developed prototype for multi-constituency remote EVM. This will allow remote voting by the migrants from wherever they are in the country. Now, this can handle up to 72 constituencies from a single remote polling station. Such polling booths likely to be called state polling booths. Now, the Election Commission says that this is a very, very important a tool which they can deploy to increase the voting percentage as far as the elections are concerned. Now, so this is largely what RVMs are. But how does it work? How will it help people, and how can, if you are a migrant worker, how can you in fact use this facility when it will be started? Now, this in fact, the migrant voters can register for this both offline, and they can also use the online mechanism for remote voting. Now, registration with home constituency returning officer will be done. Then you will get a verification. The verification of the voter details in the home constituency will be done. Special multi-constituency remote polling stations will be set up where migrants live. The Election Commission will inform migrant voters which state booth they need to visit, and simultaneously the voter will be barred from voting from home constituency to in fact make sure that there is no duplicacy. Now, the remote voting machine will offer the same voting experience as the EVMs. The RVM will have full security features of the EVMs. Dynamic ballot display board will be there instead of a regular printed paper slip, and dynamic display will show the list of candidates based on the constituency for which the migrant voter wants to vote for. This is how this entire process is going to work. Now, let me also take you a step further and tell you what will be the procedure and how, in fact, you would be eligible to vote for through an RVM. So what will happen? After you are done with your registration, after you have done the online or offline, in fact, registration with the home constituency, you will get a voter ID, a new ID, a migrant voter ID to say the least. Now, this ID will come with a barcode, which will be a unique identification barcode. Voters will then go to the relevant booth with ID. Polling booth will scan the voter details. Details of the candidates from voter constituency will then appear, and the voter will then be able to vote. After voting, the voter will also get a receipt. So you can go to your state, the polling booth, whichever will be told to you by the election, agents, and then you can go there, you can tell them about your constituency, your details will be scanned, and then you will see the list of candidates, and of course, then you can vote as you will vote in any normal EVM. But there have been certain red flags which the political parties have raised as far as this RVM voting exercise is concerned. Many political parties, as I told you, 8 national and 40 regional parties were invited. And what we hear, most of them, majority of them have raised certain objections. What are these objections and the controversies around the RVMs? There is no clear definition of who is a migrant voter. This is something that the election, political parties have flagged. They have also said that there needs to be a clear demarcation of who will be constituted as a migrant voter. Now, the Election Commission, remember, ladies and gentlemen, has said that there are 30 crore migrant voters in India. This is going to be a huge swing factor if these numbers come into the voting list. But the opposition says that the government had told the parliament that there are only 70,000 migrant voters as far as the government data is concerned. So that needs to be rationalized, and if that happens, this possibly could bring a lot of people out of the voting mechanism to come and vote and make a difference as far as the governments in the country are concerned. So that was Breaking Views Explained on the RVM. We'll try and get you more such explainers on issues that really have an impact on your life. That's all the time that I have in this edition. News and updates continue on NDTV. Thank you so much for being with us.